to people that have savings or investments. The government, in my mind, doesn't really know what they've come out with here on the impact of it 20 or 30 years from now is going to be very, very dramatic. Currently, if you're usually by the time you get into your 50s, you've got some investments, and some of those investments are producing taxable income. And you're often in your last few years of working, that taxable income is right on top of your salary. You're paying a very high rate of tax on the income you're earning on your GICs or anything else. You may retire and your income goes down a little bit, but then of course they add CPP and old age once you get to 65, and so your taxable income comes up again, and all your earnings from your GICs are right on top of that. So the amount of taxes paid on just simple GICs that are earned at the bank, and many people own these, and they should, is tremendous tax revenues to the government. Okay, so lots of tax revenues. Well, 20 or 30 years from now, they won't have that tax revenue because all those GICs will be inside the tax-free savings accounts. There's no reason to hold them outside tax-free savings account. So if you look at the generation past this, the government's going to have to start looking for other ways to tax people because they're going to lose a lot of revenues. It's unfortunate those plans weren't available when you were all younger.
A long time ago, yeah.
Absolutely. But you still are able to start sheltering it, and if you think about it, we're already up to $30,000 a couple that can be sheltered into a tax-free savings account, and it's going up by $10,000 a couple every year because it's $5,000 an individual. So even 10 years from now, you could easily have $80,000 or more put away from today. So
if you downsize, that you grab that cash and throw it in there.
Yeah, and the beauty of it, if you haven't put any money in there yet because everything's in retired assets or retirement assets, you can drop it in as one sum because the $5,000 started clicking up in 2009. So we're already in the third year of availability, so we're up to $15,000 each. So who should be using these? Everybody that has any type of savings or investments outside your RSPs or your retirement accounts, because they're flexible. You can put the money in. While it's in there, you pay no taxes on the earnings, and you can get the money out relatively fast. So if you have non-registered assets, like registered assets that are not inside your retirement fund, there's no harm in putting them into the tax-free savings account. So does everybody have a tax-free savings account now?
I haven't because there was some press around. If you took the money out and then put it back, the tax man could come after you for something. There was some misunderstanding about the flow of money. It just sounded complicated.
Yeah, there was about, I think, 800,000 taxpayers that found out that there was an issue.
Yeah.
Right, but
what was that issue? Is it taken care of?
The issue was simple, that people opened up a plan, put $5,000 in it, and then took the $5,000 out. Okay? When you take it out, you're not able to put it back in until the following calendar year. So people put it right back in 3 months later or something, and that put them offside. But again, anybody that had an advisor, if they paid tax penalties, and the advisor should be picking up that tab. Because
so it's not that flexible if you can only take it out the full amount once and put it back.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, but you can always put back in what you took out without any. So you haven't used up the room. If I put in $5,000 a year for 3 years, and my plan's now with some interest, maybe $16,000, and I take out 10. The following year, I can put the 5 new money in, and I can put the whole 10 right back in again. So it allows me to maintain the growth of that pool for the rest of my life.
But you can't do, say you've got 5,000 in, you take out 2,000, you put back 2,000.
Right,
right there you're at 7.
Yes. So you would wait to put the 2 in until the following calendar year. And so you're now, if you took it out you're going to be exposed on taxes on whatever it earns for the coming rest of the year. But in most cases, that's not an issue, because if you took it out, it was because you were going to spend it. Okay, so you've spent it. There's usually a drag of a few months before you get some accumulated cash again to go back in. So it's not really that big of a problem that you can't put it into the following year. Particularly if you take it out in September or something, it's really not that big of a problem. It's just that I think what happened, if you look at the people who are having a problem, is when they introduced these things, a lot of the companies were providing incentives to put it into their tax-free savings account. They were paying a 3% interest for the first 3 months, and when the interest rates were 0.5%. So people were going to these companies and putting the money in, and then 3 months later deciding, well, they could get a better investment somewhere else. And instead of going through the complication of transferring it from one bank to the other bank using the proper paperwork, they were just withdrawing the $5,000 and taking it down, and oh, this bank's now going to give me another 5% to put it in. So because it's new money, and so a lot of it was actually created by people chasing higher interest rates and banking institutions, and so most of them are just GICs and savings accounts. So everybody got the feeling that that's all they were. Okay? Your investment account that you have at wherever it's at, we now have 2 investment accounts. We have the regular investment account and we have the tax-free savings account. And so what you're ended up with is more paperwork, because we'll end up and some people don't have new money. If you've been retired and your investments are all in place and you're living off your incomes, it's every year we just take $5,000 from the regular investment set and put it inside the tax-free savings account. So,
but if you're putting in whatever stocks or mutual funds or whatever, you cannot take that money out.
well,
For an emergency, so there are conditions or there's a loss if you do that.
well, again, that's an investment problem, not a withdrawal problem. Okay. So in our portfolios, because the amounts are still only $15,000 each,
Yeah.
most of our tax-free savings accounts would still have cash savings accounts, GICs in there. In fact, one of our policies is we're, for the first 5 years of tax-free savings accounts, we're just laddering up GICs. Every year we just buy one more 5-year GIC. So that there's a pool of $25,000 available on a rotation basis, $5,000 a year. Because it's a nice place to keep that extra cash that I might need. But there's nothing preventing us from buying stocks and bonds and everything inside the tax-free savings account.
Yeah, I just want to say, am I allowed to put somebody else's name on that?
Not on a tax-free savings account.
So for a child, a grandchild?
So like if I have a son who doesn't have any money, can I not put his
Yes,
name?
well, we can see about those kind of gifts. Yes, you can, but
We can't share.
no, it can't be shared. Okay, responsibility for it or title to it will flow. So we're going to pause a little bit so you can all have something to eat. And I'm sure Michael was surprised at how big stuff these burgers are.
I'll circle the table so it's easier.
So for a term of slider, they look like more like very big